the notes and did my duty. And one day afternoon, they called to say there was nobody to cover a briefing that was going to be held at the White House. And I did one thing that people are not supposed to do, and that's volunteer. I'll do it, I'll cover it. I said, but that means you're gonna have to be here tomorrow morning, go through the briefing tonight, because I don't care. So I went to this late night briefing at the White House, and I heard an explanation for what was going to be released the following morning, and that was how Kissinger managed to appear to be in two places at once. The shape of the table in Paris peace talks, round, and some of the terms that were offered. The next morning, I went in, bleary-eyed, but give me another shot of coffee, please. And they said, oh, there's going to be a subcommittee hearing on the Agent Orange, that gas that was sprayed on the canopies in the jungles to make them defoliate. The trees fall off so we could see what was going on underneath. And I went to that because the real reporters didn't want to go. I said, okay, I went and I was taking all sorts of notes. And Mike Mansfield was the Senate Majority Leader. And he was leading the subcommittee hearing. It was on the environmental impact. And he never missed a chance to rail against President Nixon. There was no love lost there. And every chance he got, he would say nasty things about the White House. And on this committee hearing, he also got up and said, nothing to do with Agent Orange. He said, and if the president really wanted us to get out of Vietnam, he would offer a one-for-one exchange. Our prisoners being returned and are pulling out of Vietnam. Well, people finished their questions and they left the room, and as they were filing out, I did something little interns or reporters are not supposed to do. I stuck my hand in the air, said, excuse me, I have a question. And the senators were filing out. Mansfield turned around and said, yes, who are you? I said, oh, Freeman, Associated Press. Now the people filing out of the room were like, hey kid, shut up. I said, no. Senator, now you just said that the president, if he were serious, he would offer a one-for-one swap. I said, yes, that's exactly what I said. Okay, Senator, are you calling the President of the United States a liar? You see, while we were in that subcommittee hearing, at the same time, the White House was releasing the information that I'd gone to the pre-briefing the night before. So the White House announced that the president had indeed offered a one-for-one exchange. Senator Mansfield was not a happy camper. Everybody was like, oh my God, Senator Mansfield has called the president a liar. Ouch. Okay, the paybacks on that, or the blowback, was Mansfield went back to his office, and by that afternoon, I had been barred from the Senate for life. Yeah, that's in the congressional record. It made front page news right there next to the secret peace talks. It was all over the nation, and Connecticut Avenue, where our headquarters was for Associated Press, they rang me up and said, listen, you know, you can't work at the Capitol anymore. You're not allowed. Where do you want to go? Heavens to Betsy, don't give me a blank check. If you ask for the moon, you just might get it. So I asked for the White House. Cub reporters do not go to the White House. Nope, doesn't happen. But they asked me. They gave me my choice. And they asked Gaylord Shaw, who was the anchor reporter for AP at West Wing, if he would take me on, and he agreed. So my next assignment was the White House. I went to West Wing as a cub reporter. And I did fairly well there. moved forward, and I learned that as good as I was, Gaylord said, you need to get out of this because you're going to burn out. And I once again went back to targeting the military and a career there. Went back to school, finished, wound up with 4 bachelors, English, theology, psychology, and music. And came time, and of course I went through ROTC, but came time for commissioning, and the commissioning contract was that they would send you to school, and in return you had to agree to serve 4 years active duty in the armed forces of the United States. Okay, fine with me. They said, we're going to commission you, and I said, I want it in the Air Force. They said, no, the Army sent you back. I said, wrong. I look better in blue than green. So, and I pointed to the fact that the Air Force is also part of the armed forces. Consequently, we fought back and forth, and eventually I did get commissioned in the Air Force. Now, once in a while, the government does do things correctly. I didn't know it, but I apparently had an aptitude for radar. And they put me into radar. Now, this is a kid who had passed freshman algebra by 1/100th of a point. Brainchild, I was not. But when you look at what is radar, the radar intercepts, you are solving 3-dimensional trigonometry problems in your mind. Computers were not big then. We had to do it in our mind, and we had to do it fast. And so I had an aptitude without realizing it. They put me in, it was a good fit. I did my training, and I wound up being sent to Homestead in Miami. There, I learned that, gee, there are radars, but there are also radars in airplanes. So I got a chance to go into the back seat of the F-4s. I was a radar intercept officer. And it was, let's get started on a really fun career. There's mischief to be had, believe me, I had. Over to Southeast Asia, into Thailand, and I went to a place called Nakhon Phanom Royal Thai Air Force Base, which is on the northeast corner of Thailand, right on the edge of Laos, where the Mekong River runs. And those were the final days of the war. We were pulling everybody out. We were stripping the bases. And when I say stripping the bases, I mean we were pulling anything of value out of the base and shipping it back to the States, and also personnel. So we were leaning our forces out. Part and parcel of that, though, we had to keep our bases running, even though it had less and less people there. And the people stationed there would wind up doing 2 and 3 jobs simultaneously. So I worked radar, I worked law enforcement, and I worked K9, I worked rescue. When I say work rescue, you may recall that in 1975, the Cambodians took the Americans hostage at the embassy in Phnom Penh. And we mounted a rescue operation to go in and rescue the hostages. It was called Operation Eagle Pull. So I was on that. And a little while later, in April, I believe it was 28, we were pulling out of Saigon, and you may have seen the newsreel footage where the choppers were picking the Marines off the rooftops in Saigon. That was Operation Frequent Wind, and I was in the back end of one of those helicopters. Now, I'll pause for just a moment because we all have technology at our disposal. We all have these wonderful cell phones. Now, the reason I'm pausing and bringing this up is I'm giving you a drink from a fire hose, and you're probably going to sit there and go, bullshit. This is rubbish, horseradish, not happening. But with your cell phones, you can fact check me. And I love that. I love that. You can fact check me and find out if I am putting you on. Trust me, I'm not. I'm telling you a lot of stories, and some of them are even true. But, so technology is here, use it. Okay, on May 19th, that was Ho Chi Minh's birthday, 1975, and the radio had been warning us that they were going to attack. Now, in preparation for the attack, they had been periodically launching mortars and rockets into the base. And the alarms would go off, and everybody would bail out of their bunker, out of their hooches, go running into the bunkers, and they'd sit there until the all clear siren. No, not everybody. I slept very soundly. And my hooch mates didn't like the fact that I would just refuse to wake up and go into the bunker. So they would roll me out of my bunk, slide me under the bunk, and when they came back after the all clear, they'd pull me out from under the bunk and toss me back on. Okay, I'd wake up in the morning, hi, fine, night's rest. Anybody else? No. The bunks, they had wire springs, sort of like a giant chessboard or a tic-tac-toe lattice work underneath, wires crisscrossed this way and that, and a thin mattress slapped on top. Okay, it was great. One morning, they forgot to pull me out. I would wake up with an alarm clock. Wake up with these alarms going off? No. Giant voice saying there's an attack coming? No, I didn't wake up. But my alarm clock, that would wake me. So my alarm clock went off and I sat up. I was still under the bunk. I wound up with a crisscross across my face. I was serving, one of my many duties was executive officer to the radar squadron commander. So I went in, and I was sitting at my desk when the major came in, and he looked at me, saw my face, and said, I'm not going to ask. I'd been into so much mischief, no, he wasn't going to ask. Okay, the 19th of May came along, Ho Chi Minh's birthday, and sure enough, we were all prepared. I was on patrol on the perimeter in the northwest corner with K9.